Well, that is day 3 of practice, organized practice with the coaches. Before that, the players had gone through 6 days of workouts, 7-on-7 team work, a lot of individual drill, fundamental drills, but these 3 practices have been, we've done everything. They very similar to the type of practice that we would have in camp. We just add periods of our opponent in there, about 24 to 30 plays a day. We've worked all the situational stuff from 3rd down, short yardage, goal line, red zone periods, 2-minute whatnot. And it's good to see a couple guys back healthy and running around, guys like Stephen Jones, guys like Penesu. Alana is getting closer and closer to playing. Jalen Joseph, he's really getting close to playing as well. So, and tomorrow we actually take off the pads tomorrow and make it more of a fast Friday type of thing for us before we give them a day in between. So we're trying to go in 4 days in between and just keep them preparing for Michigan State.
You'd left the door open to a couple others, Tony Brooks, James, Andrew Johnson. Where do they stand at this point?
Andrew Johnson has been practicing and looked good. We're still a little bit cautious about letting him go full tilt. I guess I'll have a better feel for him by the end of the week, but he has participated in half-line run drills, which is, as close as you can get to the real stuff. Tony Brooks James is still, we're taking a little bit slower with him. Due to he had a more significant injury. Nothing that's going to be, in any way, shape, or form keep him from playing in the future. Now, in terms of the game itself, it'll probably be pretty tight. It'll be pretty close whether he can play or not.
With DJ Johnson now being eligible to play, is that something that you guys will throw him out there and see how he does, or is he fit into the game plan right
Absolutely.
now?
We recruited him for a reason. He had the type of length, size, athleticism that you look for at that position. It's kind of neat. I was all over him today because, like, hey man, where was that effort while you were on the scout squad? So but that being said, he's a really good young man that's worked hard. He's really spent more time in the playbook. He asks the right questions all week, and I think a lot of the guys are they're taking time out of their regular regimen to teach him and get him ready because they recognize he's a guy that could really help us. So as long as he keeps progressing like he is, you can expect him to play.
What kind of a pleasant surprise was that to find out he was somebody you could have available for this?
Well, we knew it when we first tried to get the waiver for him, and we just kind of got lost, amongst all the other stuff. It's such a non-busy time of year that things like that. So it was like, hey, that's a great surprise, but we're grinding. We had some grinder practices. We probably got to turn it up in here and make it a little bit hotter. We're trying to make it 63, 65, what it is out there. But probably turn it up a little bit more this next week.
Did it strike you yesterday the fact that Vegas Bowl was going on and how chaotic last year was, and just to be able to devote so much time to recruiting this weekend and to still be able to game plan over the next couple of weeks?
Chaotic might be the understatement of the year. One day we'll all sit down and I'll give you a minute-by-minute chronicle of what that was like. But yeah, it's incredible how that passed. I can say I had a hell of a one-year treat. And a friend of mine put me on FaceTime with The Undertaker, and I'm a big wrestling fan, all those guys, and that made my day. So you can hopefully we can get call Mr. Undertaker. Hopefully we can get him here for some practices and be around our guys.
What does it mean to you that Jalen and some of the guys that will be preparing for the draft after this bowl game are going to play in the bowl game?
It means they're made of the right stuff, in my opinion. And I think also it's a recognition that some guys are in situations where good play in a game like this that's going to be scouted heavily could help them and their status in the draft as well. So part of that is, again, it's always it's a personal and a business decision. And in these cases, I think most of them would all agree that this makes good sense.
To this game specifically, I know you're familiar with their personnel a bit, but let's talk starting with Willikis in the matchup there, where probably Panay will be getting him quite a bit. He's one of the better defensive ends in the country, and they've got 2 corners who one's entered the draft, and they haven't said he was going to play, and the other is up against the redshirt rule. Just what you see in their secondary as well.
No, there's a reason that they're ranked so high defensively. I know we talked about the run defense statistics about them being top in the country, but if you look at overall, 3rd down defense, red zone defense, points allowed. I mean, it's hard to argue that they're not one of the better defenses in the country. And what stands out is the fact that they are just a physically tough and disciplined defense that can run. They can run. Played them, coached against them in 15, and they could run. They disguise everything really well. I mean, they're a challenge, and as you watch them play against the Ohio States of the world, and the Michigans of the world and Penn State, I mean, they are creating a lot of issues, a lot of negative plays. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. So for our players, it's been great because they recognize the challenge, and also having this extra time off, they're in that film and just studying. You know, they're taking advantage, knowing that once you get over there, it's kind of different. You know, you have mandatory events and all that stuff. So they've taken the approach and understand this is a really important game for them, for us, for the program, for the university, for the conference, right? So a lot of things at stake there.
So how many practices will you do in Eugene and how many in the Bay Area?
We'll have, tomorrow will be practice 4, 1 day in between off, there'll be another 4, and then over there we'll have a full 5. So we'll have 13 practices total organized with us. The ones that they had as well would be another, I forget the total number, but we're at that limit that we're allowed to have. And it's awesome. I mean, to be able to rep these guys again and again. Like, for example, tomorrow, even though we take the pads off, the travel squad, we will scrimmage the young guys again, and we'll scrimmage them again at the end of the week, and we'll scrimmage them again at over in Santa Clara. So this year, that group has gotten 15, 16 opportunities to scrimmage. You know, and that's a lot of development right there. That's going to pay off, and it's paid off this year with some of the guys that have been able to play as the year's gone on.
What was Capro's decision to leave to you, and how does that maybe impact the guys in the second group of offensive line? Is it Forsyth that's maybe the guy most impacted with that?
I don't think there's much of an impact. I think in my role, I respect anyone's decision as the choices they make. You know, whether I agree with them or not. We're a high-level competition type of operation now. And we're going to stick by that. That's what we're going to do. And, you know, if it doesn't fit someone's plans, then you know what? I'm certainly not upset with them, certainly do not judge them. There's reasons for decision, and we support. I mean, at the end of the day, these are 17 to 21-year-old guys, and they have, you know, they have decisions to make, and we support them, you know, whether we're, you know, it's with us or not. Was
it playing time?
Oh, I don't want to, you know,
right.
I don't put guys stuff out there, you know.
Sure.
Again, that's a good family and a good young man, and wish them the best, and you know, we're thrilled for the guys we have up front. I mean, let's, you know, and the ones that, you know, should be coming in here real soon as well. We're you know, we're pretty large and explosive up front.
When you speak about the development process of the bowls, especially, how much do you have to balance that, Mario, of closing this out for the seniors that you do have? But you mentioned, like, Tony's hurt, could be close to the game. Kickoff returns was an issue this year.
Yeah.
Are you going to be auditioning guys for next season at that position?
Auditioning, there's an interesting one right there. Well, you know, we're gonna, for us, these guys have worked it. You know, Jalen Red's worked it back there. A guy that hasn't been mentioned much that is really good at Javon Holland can really do it. You know, Travis Dye has done it back there. So it's, you see, we think that Bobby Williams really made a big impact in our return game. And we've had some opportunities this year, albeit one penalty that called back a long run. So it's something that we're full throttle about, so whoever is capable and healthy to do it is great. If Tony is back, we'd like to have him back there because he is a guy that can change the game with one shot. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I don't know if I understood the question, quite honestly. It's been a long day, man. You know, we'll sleep sometime after Wednesday, right? So, but no, it's been good. You know, part of the way these guys have approached, you know, the work. You know, you always wonder when you come off the road, you've been gone, right? You touch base with all the guys nonstop. You want to keep them engaged. And you show up for practice, you're like, okay, what's it going to be like? Well, if the culture is getting where it needs to be, there's excitement about it, and competing is fun. And today, you probably heard from outside, the hooting and hollering that was going on, and the challenges that were going on we brought the best in a lot of guys, so we want to keep that energy going.
And you can't name specifics for guys for recruiting, but where do you feel like this class is going into Wednesday? Are you expecting any surprises or anything of that nature for you?
These trick questions, man. It's, you know, I hope you have a surprise for me, you know, down the stretch here. You know, we've been genuine and real and relentless in our efforts with everybody, the guys that we think fit. So we'll see.
Do you expect to have everybody sign on Wednesday?
We'll see. those are quite, again, this is such a new thing, the early signing day. I expect us to do so. But again, I don't think you'll know the ins and outs of this until another 5-6 years down the line. This is new territory now. You know, think about this. I mean, this time in the past couple of years, it's less like, hey, you know, like a little hello before the dead period before it really gets turned on. So, but we feel good about where we are with a lot of our guys.
Would you rather have the first signing period in like June or August or something? What do you like how it's going so far?
It's a good call. I really don't know. I really don't know. We'll see how Wednesday goes, and then we'll make a definite answer on that. This does alleviate some of the things that transpire, between, and I'm talking about from a budgetary standpoint, right? From a understanding where your roster is, a roster management standpoint, from a student athlete making a decision too, knowing where he stacks up on a team's priority list, right? Because if they haven't been recruiting, they try to come in later. They're telling you something. So I think there's a lot of good with it, and I think the NCAA and all the teams and coaches are still trying to figure out all the ins and outs and see exactly how it fits. The spring visit was the big change this year, and again on Wednesday we'll find out if that was worth doing, because that is a long time before, if someone can't come back, that's a long time to be part of a program if you can't come back. So I wish I had better answers for you guys. Hopefully after Christmas I'll have some good stuff.
No, again, you can't get into specifics, Mario, but because Troy tweeted something out there, he said he might have to reevaluate his decision making. People read into that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Has he indicated to you either way what his plans are for next season?
What we do with the guys, we give them their draft grades, and then in the middle of these practices, between the holidays and out there, we meet with the families and discuss decisions, one way or the other. But with factual information and whatnot, in terms of tweets or whatnot, I'll tell guys to try to lay out the cryptic tweets so that people don't misunderstand what's going on. But they, I think everybody has a decision to make, and some make more sense than others, and the facts will certainly at least point you in the right direction. From there, decisions have to be made.
Do you ever have to tell a guy to go pro? Is there a situation that it's like,
oh,
hey,
absolutely. Absolutely. You want me to run down the list? Calvin Ridley, Cam Robinson, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't tell them to do it.
Right.
You just tell them what your opinion is, as well as the facts that you have. Because I think a lot of times during this time of year, like, everyone is an expert, right?
Right.
Everyone has, a projection as to what, hey, this guy is blank. Well, only those guys in that 3-letter league know that, and they provide us factual information. And once that's in hand, then we sit with the families and go over the pros and cons, not to mention the benefits of staying, the benefits of, that come with going, and all the outside stuff. There's a lot that goes with it, financially and, again, just personally. So it's a pretty detailed process, and it's well thought out and requires a lot of time. And I know everybody's itching for an answer on a couple of those guys, but we ain't gonna keep anything from you. Once we get to that resolution, we'll get to you.
Time for a couple more.
A couple weeks ago after the Iron Bowl, Nick Saban told a story about him and you on a recruiting trip in Iowa, where you insisted on driving.
Look,
and he had never been more scared. Would you like to defend your driving?
That's fine. I mean, I was an unbelievable driver. I feel a little bit underappreciated that I took, got behind the wheel, and the snow was coming sideways. It was a great visit. I'm from the United States. My parents are from Cuba, Coach Saban, but it was a real memorable time. It was those early years over there working with the University of Alabama. And that's those car rides and those flights is when you really kind of get to know each other as coaches and whatnot. And it ended up great meal. I just remember he was really, really nervous because there was a potential issue with the plane not being able to get back to Tuscaloosa because it was coming down sideways. So he was in that house kind of, and I'm going, let's get this guy before we leave, But Ross Pierschbaker and his family, awesome young man. So I made All-American the other day. Certainly worth the time and effort.
You had seen snow before at Rutgers, though, right?
A lot of snow.
Yeah.
A lot of snow. That was my first day. I was convinced to go up there to Rutgers University. I landed at 12 o'clock. Greg Schiano picked me up, took me to the hotel. There was an apple pie, a large pizza, and a glass of whole milk. That was I'll never forget that. And the next morning I had the, the loafers. And as I was walking out, they said, hey, someone left this for you. It was an ice scraper. I'd never seen one before. And when I get my car slipped, fell on my behind, and I learned to wear my, turf shoes. By the time I went home after that, living in the embassy suites for 4 months. So plenty of good stories, guys. Happy holidays.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, man.